Number 10. The immortal jellyfish. In 1988, marine biologists discovered something that shouldn't exist in nature. A species that can literally reverse its aging process and return to its juvenile state after reaching maturity. Turritopsis dohrnii, commonly called the immortal jellyfish, has the ability to escape death indefinitely by transforming its adult cells back into their earliest form and starting its life cycle over again. This isn't speculation or theory. Scientists have observed this process in laboratory conditions repeatedly. When the jellyfish faces stress, injury, or old age, it sinks to the ocean floor and converts its cells through a process called transdifferentiation. The adult body transforms back into a polyp, the earliest stage of jellyfish development, essentially becoming its own offspring. Then it grows up again, and again, potentially forever. What makes this discovery particularly unsettling is its implications. If a simple organism has solved biological immortality, what else might be lurking in the ocean's depths with capabilities we haven't yet documented? The immortal jellyfish was first found in the Mediterranean, but has since spread to oceans worldwide. Some researchers believe there could be a single specimen that's been alive for thousands of years, cycling through death and rebirth in an endless loop beneath the waves. But here's where it gets stranger. Despite this remarkable ability, we rarely find large populations of these jellyfish. They're not dominating the ecosystem as you'd expect from an immortal species. Something is keeping their numbers in check, and scientists aren't entirely sure what. If you like this video so far, make sure to let me know in the comments section and leave a like and subscribe for me. It's 3 seconds for you and it would help me out a lot. Natural predators? Environmental factors? Or perhaps there's a limit to how many times they can perform this transformation that we simply haven't observed yet. The ocean has hidden this secret for millions of years. What other biological impossibilities are waiting to be discovered in the 95% of the ocean we haven't explored? Number 9. The bloop. In 1997, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration detected an ultra-low frequency sound in the South Pacific Ocean that was picked up by underwater microphones more than 3,000 miles apart. The sound was so powerful, so massive in scale, that it could only have been produced by something enormous. They called it the bloop. The frequency pattern matched the signature of a living creature, not geological activity or man-made equipment. But there was a problem. The sound was far too loud to have come from any known animal. A blue whale, the largest creature on Earth, produces sounds that can be detected across hundreds of miles. The bloop was detected across thousands. For years, the mystery deepened. Whatever produced this sound would have needed to be significantly larger than a blue whale, potentially the size of a small building or larger. The sound originated from a remote region of the South Pacific, an area so deep and unexplored that we have better maps of Mars than we do of that section of ocean floor. Marine biologists and oceanographers proposed various explanations. Some suggested it could be an unknown species of massive deep-sea creature. Others theorized about underwater volcanic activity or ice quakes, though neither explanation quite fit the acoustic signature. The pattern of the sound, its rise and fall in frequency, too closely resembled biological communication. Then, in 2005, NOAA officially attributed the bloop to icequake activity, specifically large icebergs fracturing and cracking as they break away from Antarctic glaciers. The case was considered closed. The mystery solved, except some researchers weren't satisfied with this explanation. The acoustic properties didn't perfectly match known icequake signatures. The frequency variation seemed too organic, too structured, and most troubling, similar sounds have been detected in other parts of the ocean, far from any glacial activity. In 2022, a research vessel detected another ultra-low frequency sound in the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the world's oceans. This sound, recorded at depths exceeding 35,000 feet, exhibited similar characteristics to the original bloop. Whatever produced it exists in an environment with pressure so extreme that it would instantly crush any known submersible. The ocean's deepest trenches remain largely unexplored. We've sent exactly 12 people to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, while over 500 have been to space, down there in the absolute darkness, under pressures that can compress steel, something large enough to create sounds that travel across entire ocean basins might be moving through the abyss. Number 8. The vampire squid from hell. Its scientific name is Vampiroteuthis infernalis, which literally translates to vampire squid from hell. And once you see it, you'll understand why marine biologists chose that name. This creature exists in a realm so hostile to life that scientists once believed nothing could survive there. The vampire squid lives in the oxygen minimum zone, a layer of ocean between 2,000 and 3,000 feet deep where oxygen levels drop to nearly zero. Most organisms would suffocate instantly in this environment. The vampire squid thrives there. Its body has adapted to survive on oxygen concentrations that would kill nearly any other complex life form, extracting every molecule of available oxygen with ruthless efficiency through its unique hemocyanin-based blood chemistry. But its appearance is what truly disturbs researchers. 8 webbed arms connect by a cloak-like membrane that it can pull over itself, creating a pulsating dome of dark red tissue studded with light-producing photophores. When threatened, it turns itself inside out, revealing rows of fleshy spines called cirri that protrude from the underside of its cloak. The display makes the creature appear twice its actual size while exposing bioluminescent organs that flash blue light in the darkness. What's particularly unnerving is how it feeds. Unlike other cephalopods that actively hunt prey, the vampire squid harvests marine snow, the constant rain of organic debris, dead plankton, fecal matter, and decomposing organisms that drifts down from the sunlit surface waters above. It uses specialized filaments that extend up to 8 times its body length to collect this death material, then draws these filaments through its arms to extract the nutrients. The creature essentially eats death itself, subsisting on the ocean's refuse in a lightless void where nothing else can survive. Marine biologists discovered something even more disturbing about these creatures during deep-sea research expeditions. When captured on camera, vampire squids have been observed engaging in behaviors that suggest a level of awareness uncommon among invertebrates. They appear to recognize and respond to the presence of submersibles, not fleeing like most deep-sea creatures, but approaching the vehicles as if investigating them. During a 2019 expedition, researchers captured footage of a vampire squid that seemed to deliberately position itself in front of the submersible's camera, spreading its cloak and flashing its photophores in patterns that appeared almost communicative. The creature maintained this position for nearly 7 minutes, far longer than any defensive display would require, before finally drifting back into the darkness. Number 7. The barrel-eye fish. In the perpetual darkness of the ocean's twilight zone, roughly 2,000 feet below the surface, swims a creature that shouldn't be able to see anything at all. Yet the barrel-eye fish possesses perhaps the most sophisticated visual system in the entire animal kingdom. Its eyes don't point forward like most fish. They point straight up, encased in a transparent fluid-filled dome on top of its head. The fish's actual face, what appears to be its eyes from certain angles, are actually its olfactory organs. Its real eyes are the 2 green glowing orbs visible through the transparent shield of its skull. These tubular eyes can rotate within the fluid-filled chamber, allowing the fish to look forward when feeding or upward when scanning for prey silhouettes against the faint light from above. But why would evolution create something so strange? The answer lies in hunting strategy. The barrel-eye fish positions itself motionless in the water, its upward-pointing eyes scanning for the shadows of prey moving overhead. When it detects something, it can rotate those eyes forward and swim up to intercept. The transparent head shield protects its delicate eyes from the stinging cells of jellyfish, one of its primary prey items. What disturbs marine biologists isn't just the alien appearance of this creature, but what it suggests about adaptation to extreme environments. The barrelized solution to seeing in near total darkness required completely restructuring the fundamental architecture of its skull. The transparent dome is composed of specialized tissue found nowhere else in nature, a biological material that maintains perfect clarity while withstanding the crushing pressures of the deep ocean. Researchers have recorded fewer than a dozen living barrel-leaf fish specimens in the wild. Each observation reveals new complexities to their behavior. During a 2021 deep-sea expedition, scientists captured footage of two barrel-leaf fish appearing to coordinate their movements, positioning themselves at different depths while maintaining visual contact with each other through their transparent domes. The behavior suggested a level of social awareness that scientists didn't believe was possible for deep-sea fish living in such isolation. The barrel-leaf represents a profound question about life in the deep ocean. If evolution can produce something this specialized, this perfectly adapted to an environment we can barely study, what other impossible creatures are moving through the darkness beyond our camera's reach? Every adaptation we discover in the deep sea seems more extreme than the last, pushing the boundaries of what we thought biology could achieve. Down there, in the crushing pressure and absolute darkness, life doesn't just survive. It innovates in ways that make surface-dwelling creatures seem almost primitive by comparison. Number 6. The bigfin squid. In 2001, an oil company's deep-sea camera captured something that marine biologists initially refused to believe was real. At a depth of nearly 16,000 feet, the footage showed a creature that looked like it had been designed by someone who had never seen a squid before. Its tentacles, if you could call them that, extended downward like impossibly thin threads, each one stretching more than 20 feet below its small body. The limbs were so delicate they appeared almost ghostly, drifting in the current like the roots of some alien plant suspended in the void. Unlike normal squid that use their arms and tentacles for active hunting, grabbing prey with powerful suckers, the bigfin squid's appendages trail beneath it at perpendicular angles, creating an elaborate living net. The creature drifts slowly through the water column, its absurdly long limbs spread wide, waiting for something to brush against them. When contact occurs, the arms don't grab. They stick. The limbs are covered in tiny suckers that hold prey through adhesion rather than constriction, a hunting method so passive it borders on plant-like behavior. Since that first sighting, fewer than a dozen bigfin squid encounters have been documented. Each one reveals the same disturbing characteristics. The body rarely exceeds 8 inches, but those trailing appendages can extend 26 feet or more. In a 2015 observation, researchers watched one specimen for nearly 40 minutes. The squid didn't move through active swimming. It seemed to float, adjusting its position through subtle changes in body orientation, its limbs hanging below like the strings of a living marionette. What makes the bigfin squid truly unsettling isn't just its appearance. It's what that appearance suggests about deep-sea ecology. This creature has abandoned every conventional squid hunting strategy. No speed, no strength, no active pursuit. Instead, it's become something closer to a drifting trap, a patient collector of whatever the darkness brings within reach of its impossibly extended sensors. Marine biologists have never captured a living specimen. Every bigfin squid ever observed has been through remote cameras, and many sightings are so brief that researchers can't determine if they're looking at the same species or multiple related forms. The creatures exist at depths where collection is nearly impossible, and their fragile bodies would likely disintegrate under any attempt at retrieval. We know they exist. We just can't study them beyond watching grainy footage of their slow drift through the abyss. Number 5, the frilled shark. Called a living fossil, the frilled shark has remained virtually unchanged for 80 million years. It resembles something that should have gone extinct with the dinosaurs, yet it continues to hunt in the deep ocean today. With its elongated body, primitive jaw structure, and rows of backward-facing teeth. It looks less like a modern shark and more like an eel that someone tried to turn into a predator. Those teeth are what disturb researchers most. Unlike the triangular cutting teeth of great whites or the grinding plates of rays, the frilled shark's mouth contains 25 rows of backward-pointing needles. They don't bite or tear, they snag. When the shark strikes prey, usually squid or smaller fish, those teeth prevent any possibility of escape. The prey can only move deeper into the mouth, toward the throat, unable to pull back against hundreds of inward-facing points. The frilled shark's hunting method is equally primitive and effective. It doesn't chase prey with bursts of speed like modern sharks. Instead, it lunges forward with its mouth already open, its flexible jaw extending outward to engulf prey larger than its head should accommodate. The strike happens in darkness, guided by sensors we don't fully understand, and it's over in seconds. What makes the frilled shark significant isn't just its prehistoric appearance, it's what it represents about deep-sea evolution, or rather, the lack of it. While surface species have undergone dramatic changes over millions of years, adapting to shifting climates and competing pressures, the frilled shark found a strategy that worked in the deep ocean and simply stopped evolving. The abyss is so stable, so unchanging, that improvement became unnecessary. Down there, 80 million years might as well be yesterday. Encounters with living frilled sharks are rare enough that each one makes international news in marine biology circles. In 2007, Japanese fishermen caught one in shallow water, likely driven there by illness. It survived only hours in captivity, its body unable to handle the pressure change and warmer temperatures. The footage captured during those hours showed a creature that moved wrong, bent wrong, existed wrong by surface standards. Watching it struggle in the shallows felt like witnessing something from the Cretaceous period, trying to navigate a world it was never meant to see. Number 4, the giant isopod. Imagine a pillbug, the small armored creature you might find under a rock in your garden. Now imagine that same creature scaled up to the size of a house cat, with empty black eyes and serrated mouth parts designed to tear through whale carcasses. That's the giant isopod, and it thrives in some of the deepest, most hostile waters on Earth. These creatures can grow up to 16 inches long and weigh over 3 pounds. They're scavengers, spending most of their lives in near total darkness, waiting for food to drift down from the surface. A dead whale, a large fish, anything organic that sinks into their territory becomes a feast. They can go years without eating, their metabolism slowing to almost nothing, their bodies entering a state of suspended animation until the next meal arrives. What disturbs researchers about giant isopods isn't their size or their scavenging habits, it's their apparent awareness. During deep-sea camera deployments, isopods have been observed approaching submersibles with what appears to be curiosity. They investigate equipment, probe cameras with their antennae, and in some cases, seem to pose for photographs. In 2019, footage emerged of an isopod that had positioned itself directly in front of a camera lens and remained there for over 20 minutes, its compound eyes staring into the lens as if studying the device studying it. Their ability to survive without food for extended periods raises questions about their longevity. Some researchers theorize that individual giant isopods might live for decades, possibly longer, waiting in the darkness between rare feeding opportunities. If true, some of the specimens we've observed could have been alive since before we had the technology to discover them. Number 3, the goblin shark. At depths between 900 and 4,000 feet, something hunts that looks like it was assembled from spare parts of different prehistoric creatures. The goblin shark's most distinctive feature is its elongated snout, a flat blade-like projection that extends far beyond its mouth. But that's not what makes it truly disturbing. What disturbs marine biologists is what happens when it feeds. The goblin shark's jaw isn't fixed to its skull like most sharks. Instead, It's mounted on extending cartilage that allows the entire jaw apparatus to shoot forward from the shark's head. When it strikes, the mouth projects outward like something from a science fiction horror film, extending nearly to the tip of that long snout. The jaws snap shut around prey before retracting back into the shark's head. The whole process takes a fraction of a second. This protrusible jaw allows the goblin shark to hunt in complete darkness without seeing its prey. It uses electroreceptors in that long snout to detect the bioelectric fields produced by living organisms. Once it senses something nearby, it doesn't need to position itself precisely. The extending jaw compensates for any misalignment, shooting forward to grab whatever triggered its sensors. Living specimens are almost never encountered. The few goblin sharks captured alive have died within hours, unable to survive outside the specific pressure and temperature conditions of their deep-water habitat. Most of what we know comes from dead specimens accidentally caught in deep-sea fishing nets or washed ashore after dying of unknown causes. Each discovery reveals new details about their biology, but fundamental questions remain unanswered. How do they reproduce? What's their natural lifespan? How many actually exist in the deep ocean? Number 2, the dragonfish. In the perpetual midnight of the deep ocean, the dragonfish has evolved into something that seems designed specifically to fuel nightmares. It's small, rarely exceeding 6 inches in length, but its appearance is disproportionately horrifying. Its mouth is filled with transparent, needle-like teeth, so long they won't fit inside when the jaws close. Instead, they protrude outward, creating a cage of glass fangs around its head. But the teeth aren't what makes the dragonfish truly remarkable. It's one of the few deep-sea creatures that produces red bioluminescence. Most bioluminescent organisms emit blue or green light because those wavelengths travel best through water. Red light is quickly absorbed, making it nearly useless for communication or attracting prey. So why does the dragonfish produce it? The answer is tactical invisibility. Most deep-sea creatures can't see red light. Their eyes have evolved to detect the blue-green spectrum where bioluminescence is most common. The dragonfish can see red light perfectly. It illuminates its environment with a wavelength that's invisible to everything around it, essentially hunting with a flashlight that only it can see. To its prey, the dragonfish remains hidden in absolute darkness, revealed only in the instant before those transparent teeth strike. Research has shown that dragonfish also use their red light for communication with each other, flashing patterns that coordinate hunting behavior or signal territorial boundaries. This suggests a level of social complexity that shouldn't be possible for creatures living in such isolation. Deep-sea fish were once thought to be solitary by necessity, encountering others of their species only rarely. The dragonfish challenges this assumption, implying social structures exist in the abyss that we're only beginning to understand. Number 1, the giant siphonophore. In April 2020, researchers exploring the Ningaloo Canyons off the coast of Western Australia encountered something that redefined their understanding of what a single organism could be. Using a remotely operated vehicle, they documented a siphonophore estimated to be 150 feet long, forming a spiraling ring in the deep water. To put that in perspective, it was longer than a blue whale, longer than most buildings are tall, drifting through the ocean like a living galaxy. But here's what makes siphonophores truly alien. They're not a single animal. They're a colonial organism composed of thousands of individual zooids, each specialized for a specific function. Some zooids handle feeding, others reproduction, others movement, others defense. They're genetically identical clones, but they've differentiated into distinct forms, creating a biological division of labor so complete that no individual zooid could survive alone. Together, they form something that acts as a unified entity, a collective consciousness distributed across a body that can stretch the length of a football field. The siphonophore hunts by drifting through the water column, its body lined with stinging cells that paralyze anything that touches them. Small fish, plankton, crustaceans, anything that brushes against the colony becomes food. The feeding zooids process the prey, while the nutrients are distributed throughout the entire colonial body. It's not hunting in any conventional sense. It's more like a living net that spans enormous volumes of water, catching whatever the current brings. What disturbs marine biologists most is the implication of size. The 150-foot specimen documented in 2020 is likely not the largest siphonophore that exists. These creatures live at depths we rarely explore, in regions of ocean we've barely mapped. If a colonial organism can reach 150 feet in length, what's the actual upper limit? Could there be siphonophores down there that are even larger, spiraling through the darkness in formations we haven't yet witnessed? The ocean's deepest regions remain less explored than the surface of Mars. Down there, in the crushing pressure and absolute darkness, colonies of specialized organisms might be drifting through the void at scales that would challenge our definition of what a single creature can be. These 10 discoveries represent only what we've managed to document from the 5% of the ocean we've explored. Each one forces us to reconsider what we thought we knew about the limits of biology, adaptation, and survival. The ocean isn't just Earth's final frontier. It's a parallel world operating under rules we're only beginning to comprehend, where creatures exist that seem to violate every principle of life as we understand it. What we've found so far suggests that the truly disturbing discoveries are still waiting in the 95% we haven't seen. The abyss isn't empty. It's full of things we're not ready to understand. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like this video, and have a great day.